Come with us on our last pour of 2024 on a cold and windy day in Cornwall. The concrete pump got to site 20 minutes before the concrete lorry so that they could unfold the machine and prepare to fill the hopper by adding primer. At around 8 a.m. the concrete arrived at site, and it was a little bit too dry for our liking, so we added the appropriate amount of water to the concrete on site to achieve a slump of between 100 and 130, which is key to a successful pour. Always ensure the water added on site remains in spec to the concrete ordered. Once the concrete was properly mixed, we fill the pump hopper in order to prime the pump. Before pouring any concrete into the formwork, you should go around and put a level on every one of the braces and turn them to lean the wall in so that it is favoring the bubble. This is due to the fact that it is easier to push the walls into a plumb position than it is to pull them. Braces should be spaced out every 1.5 meters and 500 mil away from a corner and 150 mil from windows or doors. The silver brace should be fixed to the wall by screwing it into a rail at the top and bottom of the brace. After this, attach the orange brace and fix it to the silver brace and attach the foot to the floor using screws. When starting off the pour, you should be aiming for the concrete to come out and land on the rails 1 or 2 courses down from finish level so that it runs down the wall and slowly disperses itself throughout the cavity. If possible, you should aim to bring the level of concrete up 3 courses at a time. Here there is a structural steel lintel in the wall, so we stop pouring when we reach it. Here we are pouring near a doorway. We start pouring away from the opening to let the concrete slowly run towards it and gradually build up the level of concrete with minimum pressure on the cavity closer before swinging the pump back towards the doorway to fill the formwork to the same level, before moving back past our starting point and along the wall. Sometimes the concrete can get hung up around windows and won't naturally flow under the window openings. When this happens, we use a vibrating poker to help place the concrete under the window. In this part of the build, there are T-sections in the formwork to join the house and garage, so the builder has cut out sections of our boards in between rails to let the concrete run seamlessly throughout the formwork. Here we have filled the cavity near a window 3 courses up. However, the concrete has not begun running under the window as we need it to, so once again, we use the poker to help bring it under the window. The first load of concrete was now empty, so the driver washes out the machine, and the next load begins unloading into the pump so we can continue pouring. In this part of the build, there are 2 structural steel which are preventing us from pouring directly down the cavity below, so we pour as close to the steels as we can and wedge the poker into one of the silver braces on the formwork to bring the concrete around the corner and under the steels. this clip, we are now filling the cavity to roughly 3 courses below finish height, or just below lintel height. We do this for every wall in the building to ensure they are all filled evenly. Here we are pouring the final part of the wall and raising the level of concrete to the top of the final course. Always ensure there is enough concrete so that it remains at finish level after going around and using the poker to consolidate the concrete. This is especially important in areas of congestion, for example, where steel has been placed into the wall. In this clip, you can see the concrete is getting stuck on steels in the formwork, so we hook the poker in between the 2 steels and vibrate them, which allows concrete to pass into the cavity and ensure good fill efficiency. The next step is to scoop excess concrete off of all of the walls and leave it level with the top of the formwork. If you are continuing to build more courses on top of what you have just poured, you do not need to worry about leaving the concrete level. You will need to make sure that all rails on your pour level are clear of concrete before it starts to go off to ensure the next block will fit easily into the rail when continuing the build. Finally, before leaving the concrete to cure, you should go around and ensure that all walls are straight and level, and use the braces to push the formwork into the level position where needed. When checking a straight run of the formwork, you should string a line from one corner to the other. You should have 3 wedges the same size, as you will need one at either end of the line, and the third for checking the distance from the line to the wall is the same throughout your formwork. And just like that, we are done. Now time to clean the tools off. In total, we poured just under 19 cubic meters of concrete in 4 hours, which means we are finished in time to get back to the yard in time for lunch. Always make sure that you have an area for both the concrete mixer and the pump to wash out the machines. When cleaning the pump, they will usually have roughly 1/4 of a cube left in the hopper and pipe that they will need to empty before leaving site. Thank you for watching.